Greetings builders! We only have a few days of Crucible left and this is the best time for you to try new builds with all that currency you saved during the last 3 months. Today I'm gonna share with you 3 of my favorite Crucible builds and I'm sure that at least one will make you wanna create a new character. When you find the one, you can get links for the PoE and complete guide in the video description. Let's start with the most OP build of all. I'm talking about the Venom Gyro Deadeye with the Ranger class. Venom Gyro is a very interesting skill which fires a projectile that hits enemies and returns to you, piercing and dealing damage to everything on its path. When the projectile successfully returns to you, you can keep and stack them up to 30 times and they will be released at once when you use the Whirling Blades movement skill. To list the pros of this build, I would not even know where to start. It comes with an amazing clear speed, boss damage and over 100,000 effective HP. Above all of that, it's cheap and easy to put together. It doesn't require any mandatory unique item. Now to list the cons is the real challenge here. It's hard to find something not to like on this build. However, I would say that as most builds, this one is also vulnerable to chaos damage, unless of course you invest on chaos resistance gear. As for budget, you can get it destroying early endgame maps with only around 90 chaos. To comfortable advanced to yellow maps, you need to invest around 120 chaos, and for easily completing your Atlas I recommend investing around 4 divines. Don't forget that on PoEbuilds.net you can find a list with all the equipments that you need to buy for this build, with direct links for examples being sold by other players. For clear speed, I'll give this build 10 out of 10. The Venom Gyro projectile already has an expensive nature for the amount of time it stays dealing damage on screen. Now, with a Deadeye that grants a lot of speed and many buffs to projectiles, the result is what you're seeing in this tier 16 gameplay. The boss damage is also a 10 out of 10. You can use Venom Gyro to instantly have 50 stacked projectiles and delete bosses with an amazing shotgun effect using Whirling Blades on them. It's just unreal and I can't believe it wasn't nerfed. For the survivability, I give it 9 out of 10. This build comes with over 100,000 effective HP because of high armor, high evasion, spell suppression and block chance. Next we have the amazing Ignite Ethereal Knives Elementalist with the Witch class. Here we take advantage of the Shaper of Flames Ascendancy node to create huge chain reaction ignites from a safe distance that Ethereal Knives provide. To list the pros of this build, I would start with the satisfying explosions that can erase a whole screen of enemies with a single cast. With this type of speed, it would be easy to farm lots of currency per hour. And since you can kill everything from a good distance, this build is also very safe if played properly. Now to list the cons, I would start with its boss damage. Since this is a fire damage over time build, it's harder to have a huge single target DPS. Another issue is that this build uses many unique items, and even though this means that this build is easier to put together, it also means that it's harder to cap your elemental resistances. As for budget, this build isn't cheap and needs at least 5 divine orbs to work. You need 4 mandatory unique items for this build. The first one is the Obliteration Wand that causes enemies to explode and spread your ignites. We also need the Gonfang Amulet that grants a big percentage of your physical damage as extra chaos damage. This generates even bigger ignites. Next we need the Polaric Devastation Ring that covers enemies in Ash for a lot more fire damage taken, but it needs to be equipped in your left ring slot. Finally, we also need the Skin of the Loyal with the right colors, and those are 2 green, 3 red and 1 blue. For clear speed, I'll give this build 10 out of 10. You cast many projectiles that burn enemies and cause them to explode, releasing a chain reaction of new ignites and clear many enemies. It's very fast and satisfying to play. Sadly, the boss damage isn't that great. I would give it just 7.5 because it will need investment to deal a decent DPS on Guardians and Pinnacle bosses, but the build still kills map bosses without any issue. For the survivability, I'll give it 9 out of 10. Mostly because this build can be played from a safe distance. As you can see on the PoE, with Flash we can reach around 75 physical damage reduction, 40% chance to evade and 50% chance to suppress spell damage. Finally, we have an archer build for those who really enjoy destruction, the Tornado Shot Berserker with the Marauder class. As you guys know, archers have been the high note of Crucible.
For that reason, items like Lionized Fall have spiked in price and many players are having a hard time to feel powerful as an archer without spending a lot of Divine Orbs. But this build here is different, it doesn't require any mandatory unique item. To list the pros of this build, I would start with its damage. This tornado shot is a real boss destroyer. The clear speed is awesome as well. You are very fast and shoot many projectiles with high attack speed rates. It's amazing to clear packs and packs of monsters this way. Above all, as I just mentioned, this build is also not expensive and very easy to put together. Now to list the cons, the first thing that comes to mind is the life degeneration and the extra damage taken from the Berserker Ascendancy. But don't worry, we have many defensive layers and instant life leech. As for budget, even though this build isn't expensive, it is not cheap either. You are going to need at least 2 Divine Orbs to put it together. For clear speed, I'll give it 10 out of 10. You fire many projectiles with high attack speed and those projectiles turn into many other projectiles that chain on enemies. You won't believe how many of them you can kill with just a single click of your mouse. The boss damage is also amazing and deserves 10 out of 10. Using all of your ballistas and activating Berserker bosses will grant you an incredible explosion of power that will make them look like regular enemies. For the survivability, I'll give it 8 out of 10. You have armor, evasion and spell suppression that grants this build almost 70,000 effective HP. However, I took 2 points out because of the life degeneration and the extra damage taken from the Berserker Ascendancy. And that's it guys, have you already tried any of those builds? Please don't forget to tell me in the comments and leave a thumbs up to support the channel. I wish you guys an amazing day and don't forget to keep building.